Hello, everybody. It's me again. And today we're going to be talking about the four biomolecules, the four essential biomolecules. So we first have what we call, okay, this is what we call nucleic acid. You say? So nucleic acids, as you probably already know, it's basically just a polymer. Okay, so a polymer is just something that is derived from monomers, and monomers are the following. Okay, so the monomer is basically just a building block of any polymer, and uh, nucleic acid is one polymer. Okay, nucleic acids composed of uh, RNA and DNA. You probably already know what that is, but DNA, okay, this is basically just the genetic blueprint for every single living being or living creature. That is what determines almost everything that a living creature could possess. And RNA just copies the DNA, or is sort of like a messenger. Okay, it's sort of like a messenger for the cells, and it is where proteins are basically I believe synthesized or created. Yes, so that's what nucleic acids are. So what is the building block of nucleic acids? Well, we have the monomer of monosaccharides, and we have three common monosaccharides, which are glucose, fructose, and galactose. If you probably already know what glucose is. It's basically just sugar. Okay, so uh, no. Let me just. That was actually wrong. Shay, that was actually wrong. uh, Sorry about that. If I didn't check the order, but this is actually the building block of nucleic acids. Okay, so sorry for the mistake. I was kind of I kind of got the order wrong. So we have the three parts of a nucleotide. Okay, so the monomer or the building block of nucleic acids are nucleotides, and nucleotides are the following. Okay, it basically composed of the following. We have the phosphate group. Okay, phosphate group, which basically uh, consists of the following compounds. Okay, so we have oxygen and uh, probably phosphate or phosphorus. I don't really know. Uh, so we have phosphate group, sugar, the pentose sugar. So we have obviously glucose here, and then nitrogenous base, which is also called as adenine. These three, you say, they combine to make the nucleotides, which is then created, which is then what is derived from nucleic acids. Okay, so the next would be lipids. So what are lipids? Okay, um, we could sort of make a connection with lipids. Uh, Hold on, lipids and uh, let me just lipids and carbohydrates. We can sort of make a connection because carbohydrates. Okay. Oh no, that's not carbohydrates. That's protein. Okay, we can sort of make a connection with lipids and carbohydrates because they both sort of relate to the energy of the cell. Uh, the energy there is derived from cells and carbohydrates. Okay, lipids, they are water fearing or hydrophobic, as they say, and lipids do a very essential important job in maintaining the structure of the cell membrane, which is basically just this. Okay, if you look at that's the cell membrane. This is the cell membrane here. Okay, so uh, lipids are related to carbohydrates because they both sort of contain energy. They sort of just store energy that is derived from foods and the cell, whatever. But the difference is between them is that lipids, they're sort of like long term. They store long term energy. That's why uh, that's why a lot of humans. Okay, if you're a human, you probably have a lot of lipids. You know, if you're obese, you have a significant amount. You have a substantial amount of lipids greater than the average. So if you know anybody who is obese or overweight, you can just say the politically correct term, which is that they have a lot of lipids. Okay, so carbohydrates, as I said earlier, they relate to energy. They relate to storing energy, but this is sort of like quick energy. Okay, this is quick energy. What I mean by that is as soon as you digest something, okay, the carbohydrates, they basically just my own understanding, sort of help to derive energy from that. Okay, derive energy from that. And what is the energy that we're talking about? It's basically just the universal sort of energy currency, which is the ATP. Okay, so that's the ATP. So that's basically what a carbohydrate is. Of course, there are many more functions relating to nucleic acids, lipids, and carbohydrates, but we're not going to be deep diving onto them. More or less, just a sort of like an overview of what their uses are. So we have the last biomolecule, okay. But first, we have to talk about the monomers of lipids and carbohydrates. So if we can see here, let me see if I got this correct. Mm, okay, so this is the monomers of lipids, or what they're basically made out of. Okay, so we have this is what we call the fatty acids. Okay, so these are sort of types of fatty acids. So they basically make up lipids as well as glycerol. Okay, so this is a chemical compound. Uh, Glycerol, it also helps to sort of it basically just serves to become the to build to make a lipid, so that's what the purposes of these are. So the third one would be carbohydrates, and this is what we actually mistook for the monomer of nucleic acids earlier, because I sort of got confused with the order that I put these pictures in. So we have carbohydrates, and monomers of these carbohydrates are monosaccharides. And monosaccharides, okay, you probably know the first one, glucose. Glucose is basically just a chemical compound. You say it basically just it is basically just sugar. Okay, so sugar in this. That's related to respiration. And cellular respiration is where ATP is founded on, and That's where you get your energy from. That's where your cells get your energy from. So there are many types of monosaccharides. There are glucose or fructose and galactose. If you can probably see here, there are a lot. These things, okay, these monosaccharides all end in OSE. So you could probably derive, or you could probably deduce and make a safe conclusion that if any chemical compound that you see or compound or basically see, okay, that ends with OSE, you probably can safely bet that it's related to glucose or sugar. Okay, so now we're going to talk about proteins. Okay, you guys probably already know what a protein is. Okay, so proteins are related to nucleic acids simply because proteins are sort of like synthesized in RNAs and nucleic and this is where proteins basically happen, you know. So proteins, the monomers of what is the function of proteins first? Okay, so proteins, the function of these proteins, they basically sort of like have great influence on the tissue of beings. Okay, they also there are lots of types of proteins, and for one example, there is antibodies, and antibodies basically help for your they basically help with your immune system. Okay, they try to defend the immune system from any any sort of alien sort of organisms that may enter your body that could potentially harm you. That is what proteins are, or sort of like an example of proteins, but they help with tissue as well. So there are a lot of things that protein can do. So that is the fourth biological molecule. And what are the monomers or the building blocks of proteins? Okay. So the monomers and the building blocks of proteins are what we call, okay, amino acids. Okay, so these acids, these chemical compounds that you see over here, they basically make up proteins as a whole. And amino acids are also, I believe, part of the RNA. You know, like the proteins, making of proteins in general, they're part of those. And proteins, okay, if we go back to the functions of the proteins, uh, they also include enzymes. You know, they also include enzymes, and these enzymes basically, okay, what do these enzymes do? They're basically lower the sort of like the energy that it takes for certain chemical reactions that happen inside your body. Okay, so that they happen more often and they break down, and they basically just help to sort of speed up the process of breaking down or building up certain molecules in your body. And they're basically just subcategorized in proteins, and that is beautiful. I think that is beautiful. So if you learned anything from this video, okay, if you learned a lot about biological molecules, the four essential biological molecules, okay, I would suggest that you like the video, subscribe, of course, and if you have any feedback on my explanation or on this video or on me in general, you can comment in the comment section and tell me what you think, you know. Don't be afraid to be honest, to be brutally honest with me. I will actually read your comments and I'll try to be better from them. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. This is me, Rich Andre, and that is going to be the video for the four essential biological molecules. So this is just going to be one part of my explanations and biochemistry topics. So expect more sooner or later. Thank you guys for watching.